So let me show you what happened here. I had some dirt on the ground and a battery bank and a vacuum. So I went and turned it off and plugged it in, and let's see here. So this vacuum doesn't even have a ground, just neutral and hot. So when you plug it in and you start vacuuming, there is a static charge buildup. When you suck particles or like wood dust or anything really down this tube, it builds up static electricity between the dust and the plastic of the appliance. Now, normally that's fine if you have like a proper ground going between here and the vacuum, but there isn't. So what I'm thinking is happening, this bonds the casing to neutral, right? And it goes into here. And normally, since I don't have an AC supply, you would have neutral and ground bonded at the supply side. But unfortunately, it's not. It is open right now, open ground. And that's pretty unfortunate, because what happens is when there's voltage leakage or like a static charge buildup or anything, this is not going to know about it. It's not going to trip at all. So when I'm vacuuming, all my hair is standing up, and I go and touch the ground, and there's a blue shock that comes, spark that comes between my finger and the metal casing, and I'm like, what the hell? So I go to turn it off, and I go and I touch the power button, right? And keep in mind, the entire thing is plastic. So it's not like I can discharge by just, touching it, right? So I do that first, and I go and I touch it, and I push it off, and I must have brushed it or whatever. And there was this giant spark between my finger and I think one of the casing of one of these outlets here. And yeah, that broke my entire battery bank here. Now I don't know how to fix this properly, because if you have like one of those bonding plugs that other YouTubers have been showing, I'll put it up on the screen here, and you plug it in here and you forget about it and you go to plug it into supply, what ends up happening is there will be multiple ground fault paths throughout your circuitry in your house. There'll be one here and one at your main panel. You're not supposed to have them in your sub panels, but I guess this is a weird edge case, because this can act as a sub panel and supply its own or pass through energy, or it can act as its own primary panel and generate its own power. So I don't know if there should be like a revision change for this where it'll have some GFCI magic in it, because right now currently you go to plug in a tester, it shows that it's not wired right. You go to test it, nothing happens. It just keeps on chugging away. I don't know if that's normal or not, but usually what happens is this will trip a GFCI. And I'm scared that what happens is, I have other appliances here that, they have the proper grounding plug and everything. Let's see here. They have, the casing is connected to this, and, that's all hunky-dory and everything. But if the ground's floating over there, then what happens if a wire comes loose and energizes this, right? Do I just shock myself between ground and hot, or what do I do? Is that I don't know. But anyways, with the whole vacuum thing, I was just using it as normally. I was following all safety procedures, I guess. I mean, this thing doesn't even have a grounding plug. In my opinion, it should have some sort of metal casing or metal discharge circuit. That way it doesn't create arcs and sparks and all that fun stuff. And this thing should catch that, some sort of voltage leakage, and trip and turn off or something like that. But it doesn't. It creates this giant static charge buildup between myself and an appliance. And I touch anything and it just it freaking hurts, man, my fingers. So I don't know if EcoFlow, this is a problem for EcoFlow, if it's a problem for appliance manufacturers, if it's a problem for myself. Because what am I going to do? Am I going to create a bonding plug? Because I've already tried doing that. And this thing, so the reason I'm doing it on the supply side is because I want the reassurance that I need to unplug this whenever I plug in an AC supply. Because ground bonding should always be done at the supply, or like your main panel. Now, I don't want to forget a bonding plug and just plug it in and all of a sudden I have multiple ground fault paths. So I'll plug this thing in. And this is grounded neutral and everything. And let's see, where's this thing at? I go to plug in my tester and it shows no change. So normally these two lights would come on, but it's only one, even though I have it connected here. So I don't know what to do here. Maybe I need to create my own main breaker panel and have one of these testers in here know when to activate a relay to connect it to or not, but I'm not sure. It's a interesting situation for sure. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm probably gonna create a kind of an intermediary device to go in here to act as an HCI circuit or something, and have one of these testers detect if the supply is properly ground bonded or not. If it's not, then I'll just do it here. But if it's there, then disable that. I don't know. It's a huge mess. But yeah, it's dangerous for this appliance, dangerous for that appliance. It's just, I don't know, because yeah, I really don't want to be doing things and all of a sudden have this energized, the casing energized, or this thing producing static electricity and discharging places, and it's just a huge mess. And it's even worse here too, because I can understand not wanting to have grounding, ground bonding in here just in case you have a supply, right? But this thing's entirely plastic, right? And the even worse part is there's screws on the bottom of this unit, right? And those are connected to the casing of the unit, and those are properly grounded. But unfortunately, I don't know if you saw, the screws are physically separated from the metal flooring here by rubber, so they're not even connected the right way. So I don't know if I should. Oh man, it's a huge mess. But just a fair warning: figure out grounding before you run any appliances with that thing. Have fun.